Hey everyone, it's Andrew coming at you with another video on analog Zettelkasten. Today I want to show you how to take book notes. So this is obviously a big part of the analog Zettelkasten. This is a big part of basically turning ideas in books into notes and turning that into your own writing. So a big part of why somebody wants to do an analog Zettelkasten is they want to be more intentional with what they're reading instead of reading through things and forgetting about it. You want to be able to take notes. So I'll show you how to do that today with a non-fiction book. You can do the same thing with a fiction book. It's just you have to take a few different sorts of approaches with what kind of notes you're actually taking, because it's a very different kind of note when you're taking a fiction book note. Anyways, I'm going to show you how you do that today with a non-fiction book. So up here, this is a book that I have finished reading and I've finished taking notes on, and then I'll show you what you do after that. But first, I'm going to show you a book that I'm in the middle of taking notes on. So I believe you guys have seen how to make a bib card. Sorry, there we go. Okay, so this is what I'm doing right now in this book. So I have what you would call a bib card. Just remember, I'm on page 60. And I basically use this as a bookmark through my reading. And on the back, it just has all of the bibliographic information on this book. So this is written by Jeremiah Burroughs. Title is Contentment, Prosperity, and God's Glory. It has an editor, and I have the publisher on there. So that's the information on the book. And you'll see here that we have a unique identifier on the top. I've shown you how to make these bib cards in the past, but just to show you my bib box here, this is where I keep all the bibliographic cards. And so these are all the books, chapters, whatever I've read, sermons, you name it, lectures, YouTube videos, podcasts, everything, all sorts of content you would take in here. That's where your bib cards are going to live, in your bib box. Obviously that's one that kind of grows at a much slower rate. So I know a lot of people, okay, I'm just going to give up on this. A lot of people have basically put those like in the back of their main box because it doesn't take up a lot of room. If you just want to keep things simple, that's fine. I happen to have an extra box, so I use that there. Anyways, on the other side of this card, you're basically going through and you're making little notes throughout the book. In this case, my notes are very little because I always get nervous that I'm going to fill up the card before I finish the book. Anyways, what you want to do is through the side here, you want to write page numbers with a little dash, and then a very shorthand note of what's on the page. The goal here is so you don't slow down your reading like terribly. The other way you can do this is you can make these notes and then at the same time make main cards as you're reading. But what I found is that really slows down your reading, and it can get kind of discouraging when you're going through a book like 2 pages at a time, 2 pages every single day, unless it's a really dense book. But I like to take them this way, where I just fill up a whole bib card, and then I'll show you what you do next. So as I mentioned, as I'm reading this book today, I take this bib card and use it as a bookmark going through. Another thing that's cool about this is if you set this book down for a while and you're reading other books, maybe something else is more pressing and important that you want to get into, you can come back to this book and just review the bib card and basically see all the ideas that you've come across thus far, and it can kind of come rushing back to you, and you can just kind of quickly get back into a book. That's something I like about this as well. But now I'll show you what you do after you finish the book. So this is a book that I finished. This is its bib card, and I got it open here on a book stand. This is a very nice tool to have when you're going through this process afterwards. I've had this thing cranked open on this book stand for too long, right next to my humidifier, and it kind of wrecked the page in the binding. Anyways, what you do is you take this book and you pop it into here. This is how I do it, at least. And you take your bib card, and then what you do is you just go through this bib card and you look at all these page numbers and you look at all the notes, and you essentially go through a second process of selection. So the first process of selection is when you're actually reading the book, you take notes on only the things you think are going to be relevant for you. So a lot of people even have like a goal going into reading a book. They say, in this book, I want to learn specifically about, headship and submission, that sort of thing. That's just an example. And all of their notes then on this bib card are going to be geared towards that goal, because so much of a Zettelkasten is about having a goal. I know Sankey Arons or whatever talks about, it doesn't have a goal, it just emerges naturally, that sort of thing. But like, let's be real, you can't take notes on everything. You can't just, cleanly transfer all the ideas from a book into your Zettelkasten. You got to have a goal. You got to be selective. So what you're doing here with this bib card is you're selecting specific ideas from the book. Sometimes it might be pretty comprehensive. This is like a 120-page book, so I pretty much got a lot of the big ideas onto this card. And now what you're doing after you've read it is you're going through this bib card and doing basically another process of selection. And you say, okay, what main box notes do I actually want to make from this book? And it might be like 3 notes. You might think, maybe I'll just make these 3 ideas. I'll pull these 3 ideas out. Maybe you're like, wow, this is so important. This is so crucial. This is like, paradigm shifting stuff. I want to take notes on all of this. And each one of those, approaches is going to take varying amounts of time. So how you do it from there is, these are notes that I've taken from this book that I have not processed yet. Okay, sorry, I just dropped all my cards. Anyways, these are notes that I've taken from this book that I have not yet processed. And this is sort of a chain. It is a chain, I should say. But as you look at this, so the first one I have is 2 truths about heads and bodies. So one big concept in this book is, the idea of what is headship and membership. So many institutions in the Bible, just in life, are described in terms of heads and members. The head of an organization and the members of an organization, that kind of idea. Heads and bodies, same thing. So it talks about leaders and people who follow. So that's a category that I don't really have in my Zettelkasten yet, so I decided I probably need to make a top-level category for this. And what that means is, from my main box, referencing my index, I've determined there's not a super, comparable place that this sort of thing would fit. Like maybe in leadership, I have leadership in there, but I want to make a whole new category because I know this is going to be, a larger part of my Zettelkasten as I do a larger study on leadership. This is, a key concept, and it's a key concept in the Bible. So I've yet to determine where this is going to go, but for now, what I've done is I've taken these notes, and you'll see I have the notes written down here, and then in the corner, I actually have the reference. So this is b.rigney1, 27. And what that does is it links me back to this bib card, where you see I've got b.rigney1, this is the book, and then that number 27, that refers to the page number. So if we actually get in close there, we see, headship, orders, and maintains boundaries. So that's what that note is coming from. Anyways, what that also allows you to do is when you're later on pulling this note out to write about it, shows you exactly where this idea came from, linking back to a bibliography. So you essentially have your reference right there. You have your footnote right there because of the way you do this now. That being said, I have seen people who just don't use a bib box. That's honestly fine if you want less work, but it would mean that you don't have as clean of references. Anyways, what I have here is this note, and right now these notes have no numbers because I haven't put them in a place yet. So here I have a note, and you see there's no reference. This is a note that I basically further reflected on and expanded this note. So these are sort of my own reflections, my own thoughts, and I haven't numbered these yet, but my intention is to put, these notes linked to each other, connected, numbered in the same way. And then these are essentially 2 truths stemming from that. So roles of the head and roles of the body. And that's just one little, chunk of notes that I want to take from this. But that's just an example of how I would do this. So my next step here is I would take this, headship and membership, which is going to be the larger category that these are going to fit into, and I would basically give that a spot in my main box. and then I would number all these cards according to what number this category is, and I'd put them in there, and then I'd index them. So that's a high-level overview of how you take notes on books. Like I said, you want to have a goal going into this. When it comes to a Zettelkasten, so much of it is, what am I going to use these notes for? And for me, it's writing articles, as well as sermons, exhortations, things for the church. So that's my vision for how I want to use my Zettelkasten, taking notes accordingly. And that should be the way that you think about your Zettelkasten too, because at the end of the day, it's not just about filling a box full of notes. What good is that if it's just a box full of notes? You want to be able to actually do something with it. You want to be able to take action with it. It can be really easy to, feel like you're accomplishing a lot, feel like you're being busy, but all you're doing is just basically storing up notes and doing nothing with them. So that's a quick overview. Want to keep making these videos for you guys. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks.